Maybe it's about who can do what to whom and how fast can they be forgiven for it. Welcome back, babies. I'm Paul, and in today's video I want to talk about and dissect the novel The Handmaid's Tale. This is a very famous novel. It's as the author says, Margaret Atwood. She's an amazing woman, and she describes the book as a speculative fiction, which differs a lot from science fiction. She basically took inspiration from different atrocities that humanity had done, and she somehow put it all together and developed Gilead, which is a society based in religion, and it's some sort of hierarchy where men have categorized women into different functions, and some of them being the handmaids. Handmaids wear really ugly and covered dresses that are all red and have this weird thing on their faces and have this weird costume thing on their heads. I don't remember the name, but I will surely put a lot of pictures so that you can know what it is, because while reading the novel there's also a TV show and a 1990 something movie. You need to see the TV show too, because I think that having visuals on how the world of Gilead was or is or would be, it's really valuable, and it helps you a lot to understand what was going on. Okay, so as always, this is not going to be a summary of the book. There are plenty amazing people who have summarized the book perfectly, but I'm just not here for it. I'm just here to state some facts, ask some questions, and see to where we can get, open a discussion. And of course, as always, if you feel like you need to say something, just say it down on the comment section. And yeah, just hope you enjoyed this video and think a lot and it opens your mind. As always, my opinion is not always the truth, and this novel and video is not for the weak. It's not for the people who see a drop of blood and freak out. So yeah, enjoy the video. So first of all, something that just stuck with me while reading and watching was that this society, Gilead, is not built on freedom, but rather on duty. Everyone has a specific role they have to fulfill, and all those rituals and reasons why they kill people, they force you to to be raped, or force you to sit there and do nothing, or force you to not be able to read. It's all because of a blind faith. It's all because duty, because God says you must do this. It is all taken from a passage of the Bible that Rachel says to Jacob, if I cannot have kids, go and grab that woman who cleans our house and have a baby with her. But give me babies. So basically, that's the inspiration of Gilead, and everyone's like, we're raping women, but hey, God said it was fine. Why nobody does anything on this world that has no moral compass and ethics are just thrown away? What the hell? Because it's mad. The society is truly mad. You have people being hit, being stabbed, being mutilated on different places, and people being hanged and killed and being sent to colonies, a labor camp. But there's a lot of radiation there, so you are gonna die. But you're gonna die anyways. It's a shit show. But there's a hierarchy, as I've said, that I'm later gonna explain further. For you to grasp a bit of the whole picture. Basically, you don't get to choose what you want to do. Your options are highly limited. It's either you do perfectly the role you've been assigned to, which is really extremely unattainable to actually perfectly do your task, because it's either be and stand still and perfect all the time, or you are, if you're a Martha, you're gonna clean, organize, cook a household. There's no way that each and every day you're gonna wake up and do your job perfectly, because you're human. And if you're a handmaid, of course you're not gonna get pregnant in a day, because there are many factors that play, and especially in a world where in Gilead many people are infertile. It's because of pollution that have polluted their their systems and they cannot have kids anymore. So yeah, there are many factors that play that are out of the control of the handmaids, but they are blamed for them. So yeah, it just, as I've said, it's a shit show. And nobody gets to decide what they do with their lives. Well, yeah, you can decide if you're gonna be, I don't know, hanged or raped. Choose. Okay, the hierarchy. Let me explain really quick. First of all, the head of the world are the commanders. They are men, and they are the ones who like rule the place and the ones who organize the country. They are a mix between a pope and a president. It's like religion and, well, yeah, of course, because religion and state have been paired together again. So yeah, it's really weird because they've created all the, like, they've set up the system. The commanders are the ones who've set up the system, yet they claim that, you know, it's God. It's not us. We play the game, but it's like, dude, you've made the rules. Then these guys have wives, but these wives are like trophy wives. They're basically standing there wearing blue clothing and do nothing. They just pretend. They literally pretend to have the kids, whilst the handmaids are having the actual kids, which is weird as fuck. And many of them, they feel superior to the other women, and they feel also like enraged because they are oppressed by the ones on the top, which are the commanders. So they are both the oppressors and the oppressed. And this creates a weird dynamic where all the resentment the wives feel towards their husbands goes directed to the handmaids, because the handmaids are fucking their husbands also. So they just like use them as punchbacks. Then we've got the aunts. These bitches. To me, they are like nuns who wear brown clothing instead of black. They are the women who work with the commanders and the organization to just make sure that everything's intact and to indoctrinate the women. Because why not? I mean, someone has to do it. They are the ones who brainwash the handmaids, and they make sure that everything's going well. They are some sort of women police. Yeah, that's weird as fuck. Then we have the handmaids. And the handmaids are like our protagonist, Offred. Yeah, they are called Offred because her commander is Fred. If her commander's name was like Paula, she would be a Paula, but I'm not a commander, so she will be called Offred. And well, they are forced into reproductive slavery, and they are taught by the aunts that what they are doing is just an amazing thing. They are saving the world. They are brainwashed into thinking that they somehow deserve that, which is really like scary. And they are also like brainwashed into thinking that everything wrong that has sexually happened to them, it's their fault. Also kind of scary. And they are controlled by the wives, by the aunts, by the commanders, by everyone, which is really nice. They have little to no control over their lives, and it's just a mess because they have no sense of self, because they all dress the same. Their name is always changing. They are subjected to everyone around them. They have no free will. They cannot even like speak. Well, they barely can speak. They are prohibited from writing, reading. They cannot do anything. They can just like sit and be like this. Blessed be the fruit. May the Lord open. What the fuck is that? Yeah, it was so cringy watching it. Then downstairs we have the Marthas and the econ people. The econ wives are the women who do like the roles of a Martha, a handmaid, and a wife. And I'm gonna explain that later because I think it's really interesting. And the Marthas are the ones who clean and organize. I think I've said it before. I definitely said it before. Clean, organize, cook, all of that. They are always at home, which is so sad. And then you have the unwoman and the colonies the unwomen are the women who are not women, because they're either gay, or they cannot have kids, or they have somehow like been traitors of Gilead, and most of them are sent to the colonies if they are not hanged. And now I want to talk about the concept of 3 types of women in a household where there's only one type of man. And the thing is, there's 3 different things that a woman is typically, or was typically, or stereotypically is expected or was expected to do. The first being, bearing children and being a trophy wife, and also cleaning, organizing, and keeping the household intact. That's the Martha. That's the wife, and that's the handmaid. If you don't have enough money, of course that one person's gonna do all the job. But because you're a powerful man, you have 3 women instead of you doing something. In the book, it's also said like the idea that in a marriage, a woman cannot do everything. So Gilead's solution is just to bring more women into the house. Someone goes to the commander and is like, hey dude, you should maybe, I don't know, wash the dishes someday. And he's like, no, I'm just gonna slave someone else. It's creepy and strange. And it's funny how the more you do, the less you are in the hierarchy. And the less freedom you've got. Now I want to talk about the detachment the top parts of the hierarchy have towards the latter parts. For instance, when Offred, starts being closer to the commander, their conversations are filled with so much detachment from his part. For instance, Offred demands Fred that she would like to have some body lotion, and he's like, okay, but like, don't you like have it already? And she's like, no, I cannot have body lotion, so I use butter. And he's like, butter? Okay. And she's like, well, will you give me some or not? And the commander's like, well, yeah, take it. And she's like, I cannot take it to my room. And he's like, why not? She's like, well, they look in my room, and if they find a bottle of lotion, they will kill me. And he's like, oh. The guy has no idea, because he doesn't want to have an idea, because he could have an idea. Dude, like, you literally made the rules. And the fact that they look inside the room of the handmaids really show us how little freedom they have. Like, they cannot think. Well, I mean, they can think, but they cannot express their thoughts. They do not have freedom over their bodies. Like, they are freaking raped each month. And they are made to believe that this is something good. They cannot move. They cannot, like, get out of the house whenever they want. They cannot even have friends, wear whatever they want, do whatever they want. They cannot even, like, talk. Not being able to read and write is one of the most important things we have to express ourselves. And if we cannot, it's like a muscle. If you don't train it, you will atrophy. You will not know how to read or write. Therefore, you will think less. Therefore, you will be even more caged. And it's so sad and disturbing while reading it, because everything that the commanders have implemented, it's working. You see it working, and you feel so frustrated because you cannot stop it. You cannot do anything, especially as a reader. It was seriously driving me so fucking mad. You know what truly was frustrating? The part where the commander brings the handmaid to Jezebel's, which is like a club for commanders to literally fuck around with women who are seen as either too intelligent, too outspoken, or women that have just been traitors. Offred tells to him, like, isn't it this prohibited? And he's like, yeah, but everyone's human. Yep. No shit, Sherlock. Another topic that was really interesting to me was when they spoke about the next generations of handmaids, the ones who've never lived in a society that's different from Gilead. They've never lived in the typical United States, because the Gilead, it is what once was the US. They've never lived anything else, so they think that's the only truth. Living to procreate and not do anything else. It is scary as fuck, because if you don't know anything else, it's very hard for someone to break their reality, because you don't have nowhere to hang on to. And we can hear a conversation between some commanders when they were creating Gilead, so that was before, and they literally straight up say, when talking about women, we've let them forget what their true purpose is, implying that now women were working and were doing other things, so they weren't, busy enough to have children. So that was the reason why they needed to just implement a totalitarian regime where like women weren't allowed to even read, and they were only allowed to have children. And it wasn't just that they were allowed, it was just like your fucking obligation. It's a moral imperative. And that's what Serena Joy says. Serena Joy, which is Offred's wife, well, the wife at the house that she is, she literally says, let's use procreation as a moral imperative for women. Not by incentivizing them, but rather by forcing them. Yay, that's amazing, wonderful. Also, while creating the ceremony which is when they rape the girls, the commanders say things like, they will eat that shit up, the wives, they will believe it. It's like, do you seriously think that a woman who's lived a normal life will all of a sudden believe that that's okay? No, they are just forced. If they were to speak up, they would be killed. Of course they're not going to speak up. I think there are societies in the world in similar circumstances. I want to talk about something really interesting, which was the meeting and the visit of the Mexican diplomat. Basically, they need to trade handmaids to Mexico, because Mexico has also a shortage of kids being born. So they need fertile women. And on that visit, the diplomat gets to talk to Offred. And Offred, in private, sacrifices herself, because she would be killed if someone heard or, told someone else what she did or she said. And she says to the diplomat, like, hey, we're literally being raped. We're victims. We don't choose. This is hell. Please help. And the diplomat's like, yeah, I'm sorry, honey, but I need to protect myself first. And by myself, I mean my country. And it's like, okay. Interesting. Really interesting. Because that means that you're protecting your country before someone else's, which is, it's plausible if you're a diplomat, okay? It's something that a diplomat would do. Let's just get into the situation, okay? If I'm a Mexican diplomat, okay, and a girl explains to me what's going on in Gilead, and I know that's true, and I, of course, know it's true because I'm literally trading with humans, by me protecting myself, I'm only fitting into the system that has hurt me in the first place. I know it's a really sticky situation, but that's not how good diplomacy is done. Because a really important part of it is to ensure the health and the security of the people. I know that primarily of the people from your country, but if you don't secure the people, like if you see that crimes are being committed, you need to do something about it. And it is really scary to see how they trade with humans. Not because in the real world they are trading with they are. The whole situation is fucking scary. Because it makes me wonder what things in the world are being traded and treated like that. How many foreign affairs negotiations are being treated like this? And it is really scary. And if you take a look in like today's political and economical state, you can see that, well, and even in the birth rates, it has some similarities to the novel, and it's freaking scary. Not because all of a sudden we're gonna become handmaids and baby machines and cleaning ladies. What are the things that could be progressively hindered from us? Freedoms that are stacked up and treated as, I don't know, wood or metal. I'm really curious to know about what you think about the book and the political state and how it links, because it's just so interesting to see how novels written, like this was written in 85. I'm really curious to know how this is gonna unravel, and I'm really curious to see if you see any other link. Of course, there are plenty of political links between The Handmaid's Tale and today's day and age, but I just wanted to talk about more on the hierarchy, the oppression, and how we are being treated as, some sort of trade currency. For example, our data. Why do you think the US wants to acquire TikTok? It's not because, oh my god, the China is taking our data. Dude, what do you think Facebook's doing? With all that said, have a nice week. Thank God I don't live in Gilead.